right, welcome back, guys. This is the GSL Code S here in Seoul, South Korea. I'm doing great. I'm Doa. With me is Moletrap. I slept from 12 a.m. to 3 p.m. today. Hopefully MMA got enough sleep as well. Our next map is Terminus. MMA is up 2-0. I talked to Coach Lee during the break, and he was pretty upset. He was like, Clide is just being too aggressive. He's throwing away his leads, and he certainly did last game, didn't he?
Yeah, he threw away 2 or 3 of them. They kind of took turns throwing away leads. It was, you know, it went exactly like you said. They just kind of traded back and forth until one player lost way too many in a certain battle, and just had an insurmountable disadvantage there. Anyway, we're going to get into game number 3. Can MMA close it out, or will Clyde come back? Let's find out with the GSL Code S.
Thank you to our sponsors for supporting the GSL, for making what you guys see here so good. And down at the bottom of the map, we have our Yellow Terran. He needs to win this game to stay in the GSL Code S. This season, he is...
GSL Clide.
Will he make it to his first semifinals ever? He's going to need to turn things around this match to do it. He's going to need to pull every ounce of power out of the Clide burns for this one. Now on the left side of the map, we have our blue Terran from the team, Slayers. He is.
Slayers MMA.
And, you know, really, we talked a lot about blowing leads and things like that. And overall, despite kind of some of the things that have happened last game, I really feel like MMA has done a better job of being kind of the safe, careful, methodical Terran player in TVT that you need to be, you know?
I did double check, by the way, and this is Clyde's first time in the round of 8. He's always gotten to the round of 16 or stayed in the round of 32. He's always been 16-32. Never gotten this far before, but now he's actually here in the round of 8. He might, if he comes back, be able to get to the semifinals, but it's not looking good for him right now.
No, he has the ability, you know. He just needs to settle down a little bit. I think he's getting a little bit too excited here. And, command center first for both players. Very interesting. All right.
Makes sense on Terminus.
Yeah. Very cool. It's the first time in a long time I've seen both players do a command center first, but that is pretty cool, I gotta say. I mean, why not? It's a good map for it. For those of you guys who don't know, the new version of Terminus has a narrower choke going to the natural, and the third base location has rocks blocking the minerals rather than rocks blocking a ramp. Now there's just a cliff there as well, so it is a little bit easier to kind of be more macro intensive if that's possible on a huge map like Terminus anyway.
Yeah. Now MMA, he's going to have a little bit of an edge because he did actually place his command center down A first. He got it down a few seconds earlier, and B, he got his command center down actually at his expansion instead of inside of his base in a more protected location. So because of the fact that Clyde's not going for early pressure, it's going to get MMA an advantage. It's going to get a little bit more money, and that kind of thing can sometimes play a role in early fights.
Well, yeah, any mirror match at all, the little things are what determine the game 99 times out of 100. So now Clide, I believe, did see the command center as he was coming in. He wasn't quite scouting for it, but I'm pretty sure he caught a glimpse of that.
Yeah, he knows all about it, and doesn't want to stick around. He says, all right, well, I know exactly what's going on.
MMA, though, scouting the wrong way, so it's going to be a while until he sees what Clide is up to, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not going to change what MMA does at this point in the game, so that's why, you know, he's not sending out 2 scouts or something right away, because he knows that by the time he finds Clide, no matter how he goes around the map, it's not going to change what he does. So
yeah, I mean, I guess he might be able to save himself the cost of the bunker at his front if he knew that Clide had gone for a fast command center as well.
That's true. That is true.
But Clide still had a Marine out before that as he would have gotten there and might have blocked it regardless, so not too big of a deal.
Yep. So he's going to possibly waste 25 minerals if he never ends up using it, salvages it, but it's good to stay safe. Better to stay safe than to be dead, I'd say. That's my motto.
It's a good policy.
Better safe than sorry didn't sound harsh enough, so I invented my own version. Better safe than dead.
Is that your meaner version?
That's right. I gotta be mean. It's the start of the new meaner Doa. I don't like that building placement. I don't like...
What do you think of Tank Marines?
I don't like Tank Marine. It's okay. I think it's okay. I don't like playing it personally, but I don't mind it. A lot of Terrans, nearly every Terran will tell you it's the best thing in TVT, so you can't criticize it. Good catch.
Didn't get in there.
Didn't see the bunker, didn't see anything.
Nope.
And now MMA, yep, there's a scan immediately. Needs to do it. That's that 620 scan if you look at your game clock.
And he actually sees exactly what's going on in Clyde's base. Saw the empty tech lab with the starport next to it, so he can assume Banshees. And in fact, responds. Well, doesn't done anything specific to respond, actually. He has a lot of Marines, though.
Okay.
A little surprised he didn't. Oh, he already has an engineering beta. That's why.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. So, MMA taking a little bit more map control here. Clyde's going to, of course, see all these Marines coming in, and he's going to be ready for this. He does have a bunker, as you can see, so constructing a second one. So, and, you know, as long as he pulls maybe a couple SCVs to repair, he shouldn't have any trouble at all holding this off. I think if he gets the second bunker up in time, MMA is just going to turn around. MMA might even just turn around when he sees the first bunker. He probably should.
Yeah, he should indeed. And
sees it, yeah, it turns around immediately. Yep. That's a safe thing to do, and now we'll have to see if he can defend against these Banshees. Clyde's going to be pretty happy about seeing all those Marines out of position, though.
He did make one turret in his natural expansion. He's making one in his main right now. So beautiful timing on that turret. Got it done just before the Banshee came in there.
It's really good turret placement, too, from MMA to cover pretty much everything. That's about perfect. There's always going to be a little sliver here and there where you can kill the SCVs on the edges if you only have one turret, but that's about the best place you could possibly put it. MMA needs to take care of this Banshee pretty quick, though.
Now, MMA doesn't have stim. He's researching it. It's about...
and he gets it!
Oh, wow.
Very nicely done by MMA. And Clide, suddenly, that's a lot of money he spent on that. That didn't do much for him. Oops.
He is following up with another Banshee as well. And I don't know if that's the best thing to do in this situation, because he knows there's a ton of Marines, he knows there's turrets. I'm not sure why he decided to go for more Banshees.
Well, you kind of have to. I mean, Clyde's going to be meching this game, so if he doesn't send Banshees to keep MMA in his base to harass him, then MMA has a really good chance of just walking in and killing him, really, because he's going to have a bigger army for quite a while.
True.
So Clide really needs these Banshees to do damage. He needs to occupy them. He needs to not lose them quickly, too. Uh-oh, and he's going to lose the Herrick's. That doesn't help too much either. And that is actually probably going to tell MMA that Clide is meching too. So... yeah,
that's a good point, actually. Seeing that floating barracks,
yeah,
he knew. I think MMA... Let me double check. Yeah, well, no, he'd only seen one factory before, so that's actually a really good indication.
Yeah, there's not a lot of reason to lift your barracks and float it for scouting if you're not going mech. This Banshee's doing a little bit more damage. And MMA is out of the base, as we can see, too. So right now, Clide is going to need to really focus a lot on staying safe. He still only has that one bunker in the front there, but he does have a couple tanks out right now. Is siege mode completed yet for Clide? It looks like it is. So he should be fairly safe against this.
Yeah, you know, MMA, he keeps getting caught without siege mode in the mid-game. Oh, no!
Whoops.
Again, Clide losing the Banshee pretty quickly.
Yep. Now, this is going to be a really good indication of, well, it's maybe not an indication, but this is going to be a really good example, I would say, of mech versus bio, because Clide is a very good meching Terran in TVT. And if anyone can kind of show how it can work, it's Clide. So I hope he can. I'm not saying that I'm rooting for Clide to win this game, but I'm showing that he hopes. I'm hoping that he shows that mech is a very viable alternative to Marine tank. The Korean scene needs to see that, I think. All right, here we go. Marines from MMA trying to do some damage, but Clide is ready. He's got some Hellions, he's got some Marines himself. Oh, the Hellions attacking the Marauder. A little bit of miscontrol from Clide there, but it's enough to chase MMA away at least.
And here is one of the disadvantages of going for that mech, is he doesn't really have a lot of Marines to drive off the medevacs, or to catch the medevacs in retreat. Of course, that's why you usually see Vikings along with mech, but he hasn't quite teched there just yet.
Yep, these usually come a little bit later. Oh, yep, Clide definitely going all out mech. He's getting that high-sec auto-tracking. Very, very good upgrade to get if you're going mech. Yep.
Now, here's an interesting thing. Hold that thought. Hellions running around the side, and it looks like they're going to catch MMA's fourth base. He might stop it. Nope. shut that down.
Yep. MMA, of course, needs to go a little bit more Marauder heavy now that he sees that his opponent is meching.
Oh, anyway, sorry. The interesting thing is the Blue Flame Hellions, people say, okay, well, you know, it doesn't two-hit workers anymore. It doesn't have that much of an effect on Marines. But it's interesting, the Blue Flame Hellions will actually kill Marines with combat shields in 3 hits, whereas non-Blue Flame Hellions would not.
Yeah, that's right.
So it still is an advantage against a Bio army to have that Blue Flame upgrade.
I'd agree for sure. And
of course, combined with splash damage from tanks, there's just so much random damage being thrown around that it's good to have as much damage output as possible. So.
Yeah. Well, if you're going mech, there's really denying command center. Whoops. If you're going mech, there's absolutely no reason not to get Blue Flame no matter what, because it's always more damage at the very least. But you're right. You know, it can still do quite well against Marines. It's always going to 3-shot SCVs no matter what. So that's not really going to change anything. But with mech, you need it more as sort of an anti-army deterrent, really, and kind of a damage buffer for your siege tanks as well. So to a certain extent, Hellions are just there so that everything else can do more damage, so you might as well have the Hellions do as much damage as they can anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like MMA is loading up a huge drop going around the side, and he's probably going to go in for Clide's third at the bottom right.
Or not.
Or not.
Scans and sees a small group of Marines out and about for Clide, and Clide moving out right now, needs to be careful, doesn't want to lose his Hellions here. Sieging up. Yep, and MMA knows. He knows that with those Hellions added into mechs, he can't just engage that big tank army.
And Clide suspects he's sending his whole army back to deal with this drop. It's coming in. Vikings, and medevac full of units dies. Another drop in the main.
Oh, this one might do some more damage here. If MMA can kill some add-ons and maybe a factory or two, that'll be pretty helpful. And what's he going to go after? He's going after the tech labs and some SCVs as well.
The SCVs, he needs to avoid those tanks.
Yep.
If they siege up, his army is dead meat. He's moving into this turret fire.
Not a bad idea, killing some turrets, doing what he can do, but he's still going to lose everything. That was a disaster for Slayer's MMA. Those 2 drops just did not go well at all. Now he is actually going to be pretty far behind Clide. I mean, Clide did lose some SCVs, but... Well,
here's the thing about Bio versus Mech. You know, I think most people agree that Mech, if done better, is going to be better. The thing is Bio, the advantage that Bio has is that it's more mobile. And a lot of players don't do well with Bio against Mech because they don't use that advantage. They don't actually use it. They don't use their mobility. So we see MMA trying to do that, but didn't quite pull it off properly because Clide knew about it, so he couldn't really take full advantage. And he also dropped kind of at 2 different times, so Clide could just shut one down and then turn around and shut the other down. So MMA, he's almost making it work, but he's not quite able to pull it off exactly as needed to really make this Bio work, and he's really far behind at this point now.
Besides all that, MMA is doing a good job of using the advantage that Bio gives him too, though. You can see him taking 2 more bases around the map. You know, he knows that Clide is immobile. So, and I've always said this about the Terrans from the Team Slayers. When they play Bio, they really play it the intelligent way, which is to really spread out across the map, take as many bases as you can. We saw Ryung do this a lot at IPL, in case some of you guys watched those games. But so we really see he's doing it right, you know? He lost a lot in that drop. He did get himself behind, but he knows that he kind of has that luxury a little bit to a certain extent. You never want that to happen, but if it does, you're not in that bad of a position if you're doing the other things you need to do, like taking more bases and just being really economically aggressive too, like he is.
And well, here's the other thing is MMA did remax very quickly.
Exactly,
which you can do a lot easier off of Bio since the units are not as expensive.
Yep. Here's the thing is that you can see, though, Clide's going to be able to deny any bases nearby.
Exactly.
At 4th, I don't know how much longer it's going to be there, Moletrap.
Not too terribly much longer. It's planetary, of course. It's being repaired by about 5 or 6 SCVs.
What is this?
But, he might go for a huge flank. Yes, half of his army on the right, half of his army on the left.
Clyde knows about it, though. Clyde's more or less prepared for this. He's got enough tanks that he can kind of spread up and take that entire center of the map.
He is, but he does not have the buffer units. Again, he does not have very many Hellions. He's got a point defense drone.
That's going to be very helpful, actually. Point defense drones. They're going to kind of a little bit far back, though.
I don't know if it's going to be enough to buffer all those Marauders, though.
Well, we'll see. MMA, though, doing a good job of being very patient, you know?
Holy crap. Clide has 27 siege tanks.
That's a lot of tanks. And here comes MMA from both sides. Really nice engagement by Slammer's MMA, but will it be enough to take down all these tanks? Clide just has rows and rows of tanks here. It's enough to take down 2, but here's row number 3 of tanks, not getting sieged up quite in time. It's a lot of damage, though. It looks like MMA is going to come out barely ahead. No, they're going to be even. MMA is going to need to pull back before Clide really loses too much, so a pretty even exchange there.
Well, he did lose 20 tanks there, and those are going to be a lot harder to replace than MMA's bio army, and that's the real key to that battle, as that even though Clide came out a little bit ahead, it's going to be harder for him to build up that army. He is producing a few tanks at a time, 4 at a time, but it's still going to be really tough for him to kind of get that big push going again now that it's been crushed once.
You can see where that Hellion buffer really comes in handy there.
Yeah. He had 0 Hellions. He actually had 0 Hellions on the map. And he didn't land his Vikings either, which I think would have been a good idea to buffer against those Marauders.
Yeah,
he would have lost the Vikings, but...
Well, Clide's doing something a little bit odd. He's going mostly Marine, or mostly Tank Viking, instead of going Hellion Tank Viking or Hellion Tank Viking Thor. You know, he's kind of half-meching it, I would say. It's going more like beta TVT or Tank Viking, and you can see the vulnerability that it has to Marauders right there. So that's why you need those buffer units.
Exactly.
This is why people stopped going Tank Viking. Well, that and Tank Viking versus Tank Viking was like the most boring thing in the entire world, too, so it's another reason. Excuse me. Now, what are the upgrades on Clide's tanks? Can you check that for me?
I will check that out for you. They are actually not very well upgraded at all. +1 weapons, and that is it. Looks like he forgot those.
Yep.
MMA's bio is at 3-3, though, and they're charging in for both sides.
Not going to be enough, though. Clide has plenty of tanks this time around. This attack won't go quite as well, and MMA is losing all his medevacs and Vikings as well. That was not a good engagement for MMA
at all. The tanks were a little bit deeper than MMA expected, I think.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, again, MMA, if he can trade while the tank count is low, it's going to be a little bit better for him.
Yep. Only thing is, MMA still has these extra expansions out here. Oh, look at that. Oh,
wow.
Only 1 Marine surviving those 2 medevacs.
And not for long. That planetary is under fire again, and MMA is only at even bases with Clide right now, so if he loses this planetary, he will actually be behind in economy.
Yeah.
And he's behind in supply already, so that's going to be a really bad position for MMA to be in.
Clide's doing a pretty good job of controlling the production buildings of MMA. He's controlling everything that comes out of there, so it doesn't really matter that MMA has these extra bases around the map, the one extra one over at the Druid Block, because Clide just has such a contain on him that MMA can't engage. And that contain is only going to get stronger for Clide. You can see Clide taking another center base there. He's got so many turrets everywhere. Clide is actually playing this really well as far as the contain side of things are going.
Planetary does go down. MMA looks like he's trying to sneak an army out the side.
Yeah, he's going to have to try to run around from the outside, but you know, it's going to be tough to get enough units out there that he can really make use of them. He's only going to be able to get these little groups here and there. So MMA in a pretty sticky situation at the moment. He can come back from it, but it's going to be pretty difficult.
Yep, he has stepped onto the flypaper.
That's right.
And he tried to pull himself off and got his hand stuck instead.
He's in the Roach Motel, only this isn't TVZ, so I guess that comparison doesn't work too well. Oh, MMA losing another Bioforce. You can just see what happens when you've got that good contained with siege tanks. It just becomes nearly impossible to engage at all. Uh-oh, that may have been the wrong time to siege for Clide, though. There's a little force up there that might be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, he's a little bit worried about that Bioforce, but
yeah,
once he catches it, he can crush it.
Looks like
he's trying to chase him down.
He actually has as many tanks as there are Marauders, so he's going to be fine. Oh, no, MMA might lead him right to that base.
Oh, he's going to...
Oh, he's coming in from the bottom as well, and this is going to be enough to break some of that contain.
Nice.
There's a lot of bio there, but...
Now, this is the other way that bio can work against mech, is because mech has to spread itself out a lot because it's not as mobile. And so if you can catch part of their army with your whole army, you can pick off a few tanks at a time, but I think is right.
Yeah, here's the thing, is that you do that, and then mech player says, all right, I'm just going to move my entire army into your base, and there's really no way you can beat it.
Pretty much, and that army of Clyde's is very close. Now, Clide doesn't actually know about that army, the base on the right. And a little bit of a counterattack by MMA. It's going to take out some SCVs.
Yeah, he's going to
Clide does have the auto-tracking, I believe, the high-sec auto-tracking, which extends the range of the planetary.
Yep. Tanks plus planetary basically equals no trouble at all for tanks of that base.
There's
GG
the
for
GG.
MMA. And there we go. Thank you, Clide. You showed us how to play mech against bio. Thank you, Clide. That was very good because you saw MMA doing everything right as far as the bio versus mech goes. He was trying to drop, he was trying to move around the map and be positional, and Clide shut it all down.
He shut it down then.
Yeah.
He shut it down. He said, nope, not going to happen. Walked over to MMA's booth, pushed the power button. The confirmation popped up, and he clicked on shutdown.
Yeah, and that is why, in short, I think that mech is going to be ultimately the strategy of choice in the years to come in TVT. You're always going to see a little bit of the other stuff, but I think in general, you know, come back a year from now and people generally agree mech is the way to go.
Well,
So,
we
we'll
talked
see
to a
if
lot
I'm
of
right.
we talked to a lot of high-level players, and
Yeah, we do.
most of them say, in fact, I don't think I've heard anyone say that bio is the way to go.
I've heard a couple of them say it, not too many. A couple. There's a couple that just love it so much that they just want
Yeah.
to believe it. And that's okay. I mean,
They
that's
just
the
want
thing.
to believe it.
If you're a Terran player out there, you don't like playing mech and you only like playing bio, keep playing bio. By no means change
Yeah.
how you play because of what you hear people say is the best style. Play what is fun for you, obviously.
Yeah.
These guys at the pro level that are making a living off this, they need to consider, you know, what may be the best a little bit more carefully than your average person at home. But yeah, for people out there, Play-O's, it's fun, you know. I prefer bio to mech personally in a lot of situations. I still do it, so
I prefer
I don't
bio
need to make
mech.
my money off winning games. So
I prefer bio to
it's fine.
mech, but that's because I play Zerg and I don't have any mech.
That's true. You don't
I
have.
know.
You can't play mech Zerg.
No, there's no mech Zerg.
Yep, not yet. Maybe
Mech
Heart of the
Zerg
Swarm,
is
who
all
knows?
infestors against Terran and Neural Parasite, all of their mech units.
That's true. Well, maybe like Infestor Broodlord is kind of like a little bit like mech Zerg. You have to be slow and sort of see.
It's mech-esque, yes, but
mech-esque, I guess. Crossfire is our next map.
Yes, it
As you
is.
can see there. MMA versus Clide. Things are starting to heat up a little bit.
Someone turn up the air conditioner, man, because we almost have a series on our hands. Clyde is going to try to win this next game on Crossfire. If he can, he will bring it to an ace match. He will bring it to a game 5. MMA knows that if he takes this game, he wins the series and goes to the semis, though. They're both going to be giving it their all. Let's find out what happens.